I also was one of the few governors in the country that rejected money for the abstinence education. For a pretty basic reason. I've raised 2 teenage boys, and you know, I know what their mother and I would tell them all the time, but I also know the reality of the world. And while I hope they followed us, I couldn't have followed our advice. I couldn't be with them all of the time. And I hope to God that our children and our young people, particularly our teenagers and young adults, are learning, not only learning the advantages of abstinence, but are also learning the basic facts of sex education. Which leads me to the second point I wanted to make, and that was fighting the Republican legislature. 2 years ago, we won both houses of the legislature back. And the result is night and day. So instead of teaming up with Planned Parenthood as we had for all these years, putting on our battle gear and keeping bad things from happening, we now had the opportunity to do something really positive. And several weeks ago, I signed into law the first major sex education, comprehensive sex education bill. We've also made some other very, very major steps. Healthcare has been one of my real priorities and passions. And I'm proud to say that Wisconsin now is second only to Massachusetts in the percentage of people covered by health insurance. We have expanded our Badger Care Plus to include all children of any income. People above our Badger Care limits can buy into it for as little as about $60 a month for their children. And we now have extended our Badger Care to so-called childless adults, but adults who do not have minor children. It always seemed completely unfair to me, 2 people working together with the same low-wage job. One of them has, in Wisconsin, one of them has a child who's 15 years of age. They get not only the child, but the parent gets health insurance, and the person working right next to him doesn't. We've corrected that in Wisconsin. Signed the Compassionate Care for Rape Victims bill, which requires hospitals with emergency services provide all options for immediate care of sexual assault victims. We were told all the Catholic hospitals were shut down. It hasn't happened. And hopefully the victims are getting the full range of options to which they are entitled. I have signed a bill. We used to fight over whether a pharmacist could follow his or her conscience. But now we've signed a bill to require all pharmacies to have a person available to fill birth control prescriptions in the state. We have also I've signed a bill requiring insurance companies to include prescription contraceptive benefits if other prescriptions are covered. So we have done a lot of work quickly when we got on the offense and when we had both houses of the legislature and the governor's office. I finally really want to make this point to you, and with the speaker here, for states, and this was true in Wisconsin, in which you have not held the governor's office for a number of years, and as I say, in Wisconsin it was 16 years when I was elected, people forget how important the governor's office is. In Wisconsin, we had said 16 years, and in the party and many of the activists were focused all the time on the legislature. And how do you win this seat, and how do you do that? Because they simply didn't understand any longer, with all those years without a Democratic governor, what it meant to have the governor's office. It is the whole difference between being able to set the agenda and dominate the agenda or reacting. I know you've had great legislative leadership in this state, and I know you've had to deal with a governor of another party, and that's often been contentious. And I know but it is the governor, with all due respect, Madam Speaker, but you'll find this out in here.
I'm running for that job.
It is the governor, and not the speaker, and not the majority leader, and not the legislature that drives the agenda.